YouTube? This is Venom with Exiled Existence, and I made a post the other day about how I thought I might be a supervillain because I stroke my beard all the time. And upon looking at the news today, I think I might have accidentally invented some kind of time-skipping ray, because it seems like Christmas has come early right now. If you've been paying attention, and I think 99% of you watching this have been, everyone knows about the EA Battlefront 2 loot box scenario going on right now. And forgive me, this is a very important video, so I'm not going to be doing too much editing on this. I have to get this out there to you guys. But essentially, I went over how the industry, or not the industry, how gamers are getting sick of the loot boxes in Battlefield 2, or Battlefront 2, sorry. And how microtransactions are just getting out of hand, and EA is essentially being EA. I also went over how Belgium had actually started an investigation over whether they would consider loot boxes gambling or not. Well, it seems like we've got a verdict on that. This is an article by Andy Chalk on PC Gamer, and title of it is Belgium says loot boxes are gambling and wants them banned in Europe. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Belgian Gaming Commission announced, and this is reading from the article, last week, Belgium's Gaming Commission announced that it launched an investigation into whether loot boxes available for purchase in games like Overwatch and Star Wars Battlefront 2 constitute a form of gambling. Again, we went over these things before. Interesting that they went over both of these games. I've expressed in the past that regardless of what type of loot box it is, whether it's cosmetic only or power items like they were blatantly in Battlefront 2, gambling is gambling. Having random loot boxes, I feel, is gambling, regardless of if it's power items or cosmetic items. You buy a game, if the items are in the game, you should be able to access those items without paying additional money. But whatever, we're keep going. Today, VTM News reported that the ruling is in, and the answer is yes. So they reported that, yes, Belgium is considering loot boxes a form of gambling. They go in the article to say how the translation is a bit sloppy, but they say it's in a clear message. Again, I'm paraphrasing right now. Here we go. This is exactly from the article, exact quote. The mixing of money and addiction is gambling, the Gaming Commission declared. Belgium's Minister of Justice, Koen Geens, I may have butchered that pronunciation, also weighed in, saying, mixing gambling and gaming, especially at a young age, is dangerous for the mental health of the child. Again, continuing from the article, Geens, according to the report, wants to ban in-game purchases outright. Yes, I am loving that. And there's a correction here saying, if you don't know exactly what you're purchasing, and not just in Belgium. He says he wants this ban across Europe. So, not only that, but apparently Hawaii is actually looking at the same kind of investigation too. There's an article, and I'm linking both of these articles down in the description, by the way, PC Gamer. And this article is coming out of popculture.com, titled Hawaii is investigating EA's predatory practices with loot boxes as well. You see, we've known for a while now that gambling is an addiction, and we know and have known for a while that free-to-play mobile games, and again now AAA games, have essentially been targeting people with addictive personalities. They target those people, they call them whales, to essentially spend thousands of dollars in their games because it's a compulsion. They can't help it pretty much. Not even including the fact that kids play these games too, but EA and other games that have these loot box type microtransactions, even microtransactions in general, depending on how they're done, even stuff like Warframe, I love it. I like how they do microtransactions, but Warframe doesn't have a $60 price tag on it either. And it's a lot harder to buy stuff on there, but regardless, Hawaii is investigating EA's predatory practices. We've called it predatory practices for a long time now. It's been out in the open. I'm loving this. Let's see. I'll skip down to the article a little bit. Let's see. Here we go. Yesterday, Chris Lee, who serves as a Democratic state representative from Hawaii, held a press conference to announce that it was going to be investigating legislation that would ban games like EA, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and other types of games from being played by young children. How do you get a game to be not played by young children? And screw my English right now, I'm just excited. You mark it 18 plus, mature. Or actually, I think mature might be 17. I think gambling, you have to be 21 and older. I think that would make it an adult rating. So, in the States, you have to be 21 and older to gamble. That would make this game 21 plus, which essentially would destroy any AAA game from coming out from ever having loot boxes until only adults would buy them. It would essentially kill their revenue. I continue on the article. Belgium's investigation found that the pay-to-win loot box system that was in Battlefront 2 that Battlefront 2 was going to use before EA removed it temporarily at the last minute, which is sketchy on why they did that. We're pretty sure Disney forced that. Was a bit too close to gambling, and Lee believes they will find similar results. He's talking about the investigation that Belgium did. So what this means, ladies and gentlemen, is that EA's feet are to the fire right now. We knew something like this might be coming down the line at some point. We hoped for it. We've been calling for it. We knew EA didn't get rid of microtransactions because they wanted to or because we cared about them. We're fairly certain it was only because Disney stepped in and said, "Hey, you're fucking up our game. You're fucking up our name here. You need to fix this now," because it was a huge PR disaster. Again, EA's response, or at least 3 of their developers' responses to the little AMA they had on Reddit. Again, most downvoted Reddit posts in history. I mean, and that's saying something. So, what does this mean going forward? Once something's banned in one place, it's easier to get it banned other places. And personally, because I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited that Hawaii's investigating this. That means other states are going to start doing that soon. If they get it classified as gambling, it's very likely it's going to start trickling down the line very quickly to more and more states and possibly even to the federal level. But here's my real concern. Up until now, for the most part, besides the rating system, we've kind of avoided trying to get the government involved in gaming. For the most part, it's been fairly open and free market. To be honest, I think the loot box situation may have played out eventually in the end, maybe not. It makes me nervous when the government gets involved in this. Again, I'm happy that they are. I'm happy they're looking into it. I don't want them looking into the gaming industry too much more than that as far as how they rate games or what can and can't be made. I like a free and open market for that as much as possible. But in this situation, I do feel it was necessary. And again, I say that hesitantly because this is something I happen to agree on, but later down the line, if we can't get a Grand Theft Auto 6 because the government steps in, then, I'll be a little upset about that. But again, I mean, regardless, across the board, this is something every player wanted. I can't think of too many people that were happy with loot boxes or pay-to-win mechanic in a AAA game to begin with. There's some people that are kind of ambivalent to it. Whatever. The majority of us don't want that. I don't want to pay $60 for a game that I have to keep shelling out money to in order to be competitive in it or to enjoy it. And hopefully more microtransactions come up for a review in these AAA games. I've said it before, we didn't set the $60 price tag for AAA games. So the idea that you can't, charge $100 for a great game is a kind of a bullshit one. We also know that you're only doing microtransactions because you want to milk the money. You can get a profit off of a game easily if you make a good game. I'd say 95% of the time, if you make a great, stellar game, you're going to make your money back and then some. But again, this information is necessary to get out. Spread the word. Our voices have had a result so far, but this is only the tip of the iceberg. There's a long road ahead of us, and there's still a lot left to do. But we have to stay on top of these games. So Battlefront 2 was the first. There are still plenty of other games to come out, and games that are, in rotation now that, hey, we need to get these other scummy practices dealt with now as well, too. So now's not the time to rest. Now's the time to keep pushing forward. But thank you guys for coming by. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And we'll see you later.